virtually every business has been hit by the COVID-19 pandemic. So every business, including Eastern Gateway Community College, has to take a moment to step back and say, okay, what's the new plan? How do we go forward? And when we looked at it, the great news for EGCC is that they're actually well positioned for the way forward. A lot of the local folks don't know, but EGCC already has online about 30,000 students per session. They've built a network of a lot of labor unions use EGC across the country to retrain their labor members, do a lot of different things. So the beautiful thing is there's already this infrastructure of instructors, of technology for EGCC. So what we're now going to do, we want to make aware to the Youngstown area campus, the Steubenville campus, the two physical campuses they have of, hey, you may not be ready to go back to the physical classroom, but you don't want to stop your career from moving forward. So the campaign is about largely, number one, about communicating our online capabilities, which are deep and significant, right? And then the second thing is that we're saying, all right, but there's also, in line with that, I think that there's going to be a rethinking about how you go about educating even beyond online. And EGC sees this as well. And that's a few things. One is that people are concerned, obviously, about the financial cost of the education. They don't want the burden of a lot of student debt or the out-of-pocket money. EGCC is already very affordably priced, obviously, extremely so. Number two is that people are looking at, a lot of folks are saying, hey, do I really want a four-year liberal arts degree anymore? And some people do, and that's right for them. When I already have a sense of the career path I want to take, right, the jobs I want to have, and somewhere like EGCC has much more specific programming that gets right to the very specific skills that you need. So that's a lot of the basis for it. And finally then, the third part would be, well, how do we creatively present that? Those are two good things, but a lot of times what businesses miss is, you know, consumers, prospective customers are overwhelmed by choices, right? And you have to get your message out there in a creative way that is going to get that potential customer to notice you, to listen to your message. And so it was actually a colleague of mine, John Hazley of the Remington Road Group, who consults with Eastern Gateway, who said, hey, Jeff, America is coming, a new America of some kind coming out of this pandemic. And so here's a staff we met, and we did a lot of brainstorming, and we said, well, what's that a new America going to be like? Well, when's the last time something like this happened? And while 2008, 2009 was significant, the Great Recession, it's really probably more like the Great Depression that we're coming out of. I don't think it's going to last anywhere nearly as long. I'm very hopeful about that, but the depth to which the economy went. And so we looked at the Great Depression and how did businesses, how did the country come back? The first thing you're going to look at, I think, from a marketer standpoint, is the Works Public Administration effort, the WPA, and the inspirational messaging, especially artwork many of us are familiar with, that really inspired people. One, about the nobility of work, the necessity of work, both for the individual to get his or her life back on track, but also for the country. You know, work was positioned as something patriotic for the country, that you were doing something productive to move society forward. And so we wanted to play off that. Unfortunately, we have a great designer, illustrator on staff, Jeremy Scott, and he was able to look with the rest of our creative staff at the WPA work and say, how can we take this and kind of, that appeared near the beginning of the 20th century, and kind of redo it for the 21st century. Finally then, that led to kind of a tagline, you know, America's 21st century workforce, rebuilding America's 21st century workforce, and positioning our client, Eastern Gateway, right at the center of that effort.
For over a century, Farmers National Bank has stood strong. Through booms and busts, peaks and valleys, we've learned to know the seasons and how to grow in each of them. During challenging times, everyone is reminded of the value of solid relationships in both life and business. Farmers, stand strong.